Hi and welcome back to our Lemonade tutorial series. In this part we are going to take a look at variable sets. You can think of a variable set as a list of values that the engine makes available globally. So in most games there are values you don't just want to read or write in one single place. They are important for the whole game and you want to store them somewhere globally. A good example would be something like how many lives the player has left. Or whether the hero has a sword, maybe a high score, stuff like that. Things that are really important and used throughout the game. The cool thing about variable sets is you can access them from basically anywhere. No matter which script you're in, you can either read or update those values. But, and this is key, these values aren't defined in scripts the way regular variables are. Instead, there's a specific section in the project called variable sets, and that's where we create them. To get into this view, make sure you selected your scene in the project view on your left side with a double click. In the inspector you will see some tabs regarding that scene. Here you can see the variable sets. If I click on the plus, I can create a new set. Click on the plus next to variable sets. Let's just call it game variables for now. Now I can go into that set and start adding individual variables. When I add one, it shows up without a name at first, but I can name it whatever I want. I also choose the type. There are 4 options: integer, float, string and boolean. Just to recap quickly, integer means whole numbers, float numbers with decimals, string is a text, and boolean is a true or false input, basically a yes or no. In our example, we'll use these to count apples, the ones we catch and the ones we miss. So I'll create the first variable called apples caught and we'll leave the starting value at 0. Then I'll add a second one, apples missed, also starting at 0. Once those variables are set up, let's head over to the coding side. On the left in the variable view, you can already see both variables listed. These values will update in real time once we start the game. So if a value changes while the game is running, you'll actually see the change happen live. To make use of these variables in our script, we'll need to add a couple of things. First, at the top of the script, we need to require the right module. Let's type in require engine/variables. Then a bit further down, I'll add 2 functions. The first one is called caught apple. We'll call this function whenever the player catches an apple. It removes the apple and adds +1 to the apple's caught variable inside our game variable set. The second function is missed apple. Same idea, except here we're updating apples missed instead. Now I just have to make sure these functions are actually being called in the right places. So for example, self caught apple. And further down, self missed apple. Alright, let's test it out. Now we can see whenever we miss an apple, that value goes up, and when we catch one, the other one increases accordingly. And when I hit stop, the values reset automatically, meaning the engine takes care of resetting them to their initial state every time I restart the game. In this video, we're only using the add function from the variable sets, but there are actually a few other options too. Let's quickly check the documentation. So we also have get to read a value, set to set it manually, and reset to bring it back to its initial value, so whatever it was originally set to. And of course we used add, which is basically a shortcut that reads the current value, adds something like +1 and then writes it back in one go. In the next tutorial, we'll finally look at how to display values on screen. We'll explore the canvas module and how to render text or UI elements on top of your game. Stay tuned!